guys. I hope you can't hear the lawn mowing outside, but we're gonna deal with it if you can. Today I have a video I've been wanting to do for so long, but I finally found kind of a routine that works for me, so that's why I finally decided to do it. These are my top hair removal tips from head to toe. So if you're interested in finding out how I remove hair from my body in certain places, then please keep on watching. We're gonna start from the brows. Actually, you know what? We're gonna start from the head, actually. So I am definitely someone who thinks don't cut your own hair unless you're a stylist and you know what you're doing. But getting a haircut is really, really expensive, and I am no professional, zero professional here. Just kind of like my hair dye videos. This is all just my experience from what I've done by myself. I did want to share that with you guys, but every time I tell you something that I'm not a professional at, I do say take everything I say with a grain of salt, because this is my experience. Take your own chance at your own risk. Anything that you do that isn't, you know, done by a professional is your own risk. Don't blame me if you do something and it comes out terrible. Everything I do knowing that if something goes wrong, it is my complete 100% fault, no matter what video I watched or what anyone told me. So within the last few months, I've been cutting my own hair. I haven't wanted to spend the money to get a haircut, so I cut my own hair very slightly. I'm not trying to say a whole style, cut 6 inches off or anything, but obviously this is a bad video to talk about this since my hair is in a ponytail. But I got these scissors. They are from Conair, I believe. They're meant for your hair. I think they're like $7 at Harmon. You can get these at CVS, you can get them at Sally's Beauty, whatever. But they are specifically made for hair. If you're gonna cut your own hair, don't use house scissors, don't use paper scissors, don't use brow scissors. Use scissors that are meant for your hair. They're called hair shears. That might be not what they are called, but they look like this. And you only use them for hair. Don't leave these on your desk and use them to cut open boxes and cut open paper and whatever. Now, I've watched a ton of videos on YouTube. That's kind of how I picked up how to do it. A couple of weeks ago, I was feeling like my hair was all getting to be one length and it was getting really dead on the ends. So first what I did was I just took all the ends that were dead, took a piece like this, went like this with my fingers, kind of how they do at the salon, held it between my fingers and just cut upward like this. You see what I'm doing? And it gives it more of a layered, textured vibe, and it also is harder to make a mistake that way, and you're cutting a lot less off. You just do it very slowly. You don't want to cut off too much at once, or else there's no turning back, and you're just gonna keep cutting and cutting. It's like if you ever cut your own bangs as a kid. Never a good move, but I think it turned out really great, and I actually cut some more layers into my hair as well, and some angles. I found it really easy, actually. I feel like you kind of just do it as it comes to you. I just literally sit over a garbage can, take the hair from both sides, and do the thing they do at the salon, and then pull it down and like make sure it's the same length. But that's kind of what I do. That's a good tip if you do want to cut your hair at home. I'm not saying cut your own style like I did, because it's definitely not perfect whatsoever, but because I curl my hair, I find that it's a lot easier to hide mistakes than it is if your hair is straight. I wouldn't recommend it, like I said, unless you really know what you're doing or have no problem taking that risk or just don't really care if you mess up. So for the longest time, I did get my brows threaded, and they just made them so tiny. If you look back at my way old videos, my brows were so thin. They're not even very thick now, but I finally let them grow back in. So my first tip is don't touch them at all. And if you are gonna touch them, tweeze right in the middle, and that's it. That's it. Don't go too far. But that's what I did when I was a kid. I used a razor, like a full leg razor, and just went oh, and shaved them in between area. And my eyebrows started like back here. It was bad. So if you're gonna pluck or use a little tiny razor like this, be very careful. I would recommend plucking. It doesn't hurt. I know people think it does. I think it hurts when other people do it to you, but when you do it to yourself, you're really expecting it, and it goes away in 5 seconds, the pain. So I just take a tweezer. These are just from their drugstore. They're like $4 or something. In between, you just want to pull out the big ones that are dark. Never go further. If you can look at your face straight on, you see your little nostrils go up. Not even that. That's what a lot of people say. Take a straight line from your nose here before your nostril even starts, I say, and don't go beyond that point inward that way. Only do right in the center, like right with the tip of your nose would line up, like your finger pretty much. Like whatever is underneath this finger, if you go right up from the bottom of your nose, that's what you can pluck. Don't pluck anything further either way. And unless you have like one really dark stray hair right here or right here, I don't do anything above unless it's like a crazy ridiculous one piece, and that's like very rare, and I've also been doing this for years. But underneath my brows, I don't take away very much. I don't shape my brows. I literally leave their natural shape and only pull out ones that are you know, dark or obvious, I do use a magnifying mirror, but every time I pluck one hair out, I flip it back around and look at the normal side. Don't just use a magnifying mirror because you will see way more than anyone would ever see, any more than you will see. Double check constantly in the regular mirror to make sure they're even, to make sure you didn't pluck too much, because once you over pluck, you can't put that hair back on your face. I used to think I was gross when I was in high school, and I look back and I wasn't that much different than I am now, but my brows just changed everything. For real, it's crazy. That's how I pluck my brows. Another thing I do sometimes is, if I've really let it get out of hand, is underneath here or in the middle, if I just like can't be bothered plucking, I will take a razor like this. I'm not really sure what this is called. They're super cheap. You can get like 3 of them for a couple bucks. It's just like a little tiny razor like that, and you just go whoop. That's it. Great, wonderful. This is like the size that you should be cutting to. It's maybe not even ½ an inch, like 1/4 of an inch maybe. Or it'll grow back real fast if you shave it like that instead of plucking. But if you're just like running out the door and you don't have time to be plucking, then that's a good option. Another thing I do that I've only started doing about a year or 2 ago, which I wouldn't recommend unless you're really confident in yourself and if your brows are really crazy. So a great thing to do is kind of trim them. So what you want to do is take a brush like this. You want to take the comb side, not the brush side. You comb them up and stop, and make sure it's on an angle. Make sure there's a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of the hair left at the top of the comb. Kind of like what I said with your hands. You're kind of doing the same thing, only this is with your fingers and this is with a little tiny comb. And then you just trim off the top so it's all even with brow scissors. Don't use regular scissors. Don't use the scissors for your hair. Only use brow scissors. Do it all the way. I wouldn't recommend going too far to the end because you want the end to look really natural, but anywhere where it's like thicker kind of from your arch inward, that's where I'll do this, and just trim them up. And that's only when I look close and all this hair right in the front sometimes can go a little crazy. So that's when I just trim that up a tiny bit. Like, it should barely make a difference, only to you. It gives it that Pinterest brow look, if you know what I mean. We're gonna move down the body to the mustache. Woo! Some people would say bleach it. I have very sensitive facial skin, so I can't put any kind of chemicals like that on my body. Some people would say wax it. If you're gonna go and get it done, great, but I get really red and stuff. I have tried, there's something from Olay that was like kind of like Nair for your lip. Doesn't work. Maybe if you have more coarse, thick hair. The hair I have on my mustache hair is right at the edge right here, and it's very, 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 very thin and blonde. Maybe I'll get 1 or 2 dark hairs, which is really gross and TMI. But don't pluck them because the skin right above your lip is so sensitive. It will leave red bumps or marks and can really irritate you. So I wouldn't recommend plucking it. I literally just use this kind of razor that I use for my brows and just go whoosh, 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 whoosh. It does grow back pretty quickly, but no one notices this. I'm not kissing anybody. No one's kissing me. No one's getting that close to me. So I'm not super concerned about that. If you do have thicker hairs there, you could get it professionally waxed or use one of those like chemical ones, but be very careful because if you're sensitive, it will not be great. Down is your chin. Now, I don't know if everyone gets hairs on their chin, but I do. And only recently, and I only grow once every couple months, but there's like 1 or 2 just dark hairs. It's like an eyebrow hair grew out of your chin. It's really terrible. No one, I don't think, notices it. If I'm sitting here like this, I'll feel it, a little prickly little buddy. And because it's only 1 hair, I don't use the razor for it. I use tweezers. You just have to yank it right out there, and it is a bit harder and it hurts a bit more than your brows. My brows don't hurt also because I've been plucking them for years, so I kind of got used to it. But for your chin hair, that skin is a lot less sensitive, I find, than anywhere above your upper lip or anything. So what I do is I just pull it really, really taut in a mirror. Just don't pull your skin because it'll pinch and it could like create a red dot that takes a while to go away. But I just pull it really taut, grab the hair in the tweezers right from the root. They're not touching the skin, but right as close to the root as you can get, and just close the tweezers and yank it out. It won't hurt very much because it's only 1 or 2 hairs. It'll be super quick and painless, almost painless, and it's gone, and it literally takes forever to grow back. So that's something that I like to do. And moving down yet further is the armpits, which is something I feel like people never ever talk about, but I'm here to tell you, I'm talking about it. One thing I find is that if you're gonna shave your armpits, use shaving cream. Although I kind of hate shaving cream, I find it smells really strong and it's not very moisturizing. So what I do is I use this Dove body wash. It's freaking amazing, keeps you clean, smells really good, doesn't irritate my skin. They do have one for sensitive skin if you don't like the fragrance and other ones. It's very, very thick. It almost is like a lotion in the shower. But so what I do is I use that, really get it up underneath the armpit, use my razor. Now this is something I've talked about in plenty of videos. This is a Dorco Shia razor. Shia, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but these razors are the best. They're super, super, super cheap. I buy them once a year. That's insane. I used to go to get the Gillette Venus ones and they'd be like $25 for like 6 of them or something crazy like that. And these last for ages. I literally buy 24 of them for about $24, $25, something like that. And I find that being in the shower with the warm water and stuff really helps to open kind of the pores and let you shave a lot better than not being in the shower. I know people don't always have the time, but I find it just really helps. The steam and everything really helps to kind of open the hair follicle and let you shave a lot closer, and also let you shave a lot neater, and you won't have razor bumps and stuff. So what I do first is shave downward from top to bottom until everything's gone, and then what I do is I clean out the razor in the water and I go upward. And even though the hair is already gone, I find that that might just be all in my head, but I find that when I do that upward one after, it definitely makes it smoother. Since I've been doing that, my underarms have been a lot less bumpy. They just feel a lot smoother and everything. I also do use lotion when I get out of the shower under my arms. Definitely love these razors. I recommend them. I'll link them below if you're interested. I do the exact same method for the private area, bikini area. I do the exact same thing as up here. I use my body wash as like a shaving cream type thing. Shave in the opposite growth of the hair and then go back over after I rinse this out and go the opposite direction with the growth of the hair to kind of close everything up. And if you have sensitive skin, it's going to really help, I feel like. And if you find that you have a lot of those like red bumpy like razor bumps, that really helps afterward, and I don't know why, but it does. And then you just make sure that you moisturize and everything like that. Arms. I don't remove my arm hair. I want to give a little like thing about that. A lot of people do. That's fine, no judgment. I did when I was younger, but I have like, I don't know if you're gonna see it, but I have man hair arms. I've always hated how much hair I have in my arms. Like, it is long, it is in charge, I could comb it. It's a lot of hair for a female to have on her arms, but it is blonde, as you can see. I think it's like white blonde, so that's at least something. But I used to get rid of it and thought it was like the worst thing in the world, and it just grows back so fast, and it does grow back thicker, although that is a myth. It feels like it grows back thicker because when it's prickly and short like that, it doesn't feel good, and having those bumpy sharp hairs on your arms is much worse in my opinion than having long thin hair on my arm. So I don't do that. Also, there's the episode of Charmed where Alyssa Milano, you can see her arm hair and it is long and like mine, but hers is dark brown, and she was rated one of like the sexiest women in the whole world at one point. And I was like, okay, if she could be the sexiest woman in the world and have arm hair like that, then so can I. So ever since then, I've just embraced it. And if someone doesn't like it, then they can go and do whatever they want to do without me. Moving on to legs. That is very unique to people. Some people, their hair grows super fast. Some people doesn't need it grows super fast. If I shaved right now, in 12 hours, I would need to shave again. It's a problem. I don't know why it's like that, but it is. But my leg hair is very weird. It's thick in some places, thin in other places, and it just sucks and I hate it. I shave just about every day. I would say exfoliate first definitely helps. I don't do it every time because it takes up so much time, but if you're trying to get a real close shave, you're doing like a whole weekend and you don't want to have to shave your legs while you're there or something, if you want like a really close shave, do exfoliate first. I use a scrub. Any kind of scrub I think is pretty good. The more granular ones are better. I find if it's salt or sugar, I really like it. So after I wash my hair, that's usually when I do it in the shower, so that my pores and my legs are already opened a little bit from the steam. Then I just kind of scrub real quick, nothing too rough or anything, but you do find that when you go to shave, your skin is a lot smoother. So when your razor is picking up the hairs, it's not picking up all the dead skin and stuff like that like it would when your skin wasn't exfoliated before. So it helps to pull the hairs out better, and it definitely helps the shave last quite a bit longer in my opinion. So I go back in with the Dove and load up my legs with it and use the same razor. Love this. It's the best razor ever. Go around the ankles really gently. These rarely cut me unless I actually have a cut and I forgot that I had it or something like that. I go in the direction of opposite hair growth, so like upwards from the bottom, and then I do finish up with a lotion when I'm out of the shower as quick as possible. When your legs are still wet, I feel like they can absorb the water and the lotion. So I use this lotion. This is just my favorite one. It's really great, lasts really long. I've gotten like compliments about how smooth my legs are, which sounded weird. And then one other thing is on my back of my thighs, I get these weird long hairs. It's kind of like a chin hair, like these long dark hairs that are so random because most of most of the hairs on my thighs are light blonde, thin, but there's like 3 or 4 that'll come up on the back of my leg, and sometimes those don't shave in the shower because I'm not so concerned about shaving the back of my thigh in the shower. no one sees that hair anyway, but sometimes I'll notice them, and so I just pluck them out, and that skin doesn't feel very sensitive. It doesn't really hurt. I just pull the skin taut, use my tweezers, and pluck out those dark hairs, and then it takes a lot longer for them to grow back than if I had shaved them. So there's that little tip if you get those weird leg hairs. If you do, please let me know, because I feel like I'm the only person. And I think that's all. If you have any other questions or anything that I forgot maybe, let me know in a comment. I'd be happy to help out. I really wanted to do this just because I never found videos like this when I first started YouTube, and I think this is like the cheapest way to do it, the least often, and it just works the best in my opinion. So I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Like I said, let me know in comments or questions below. Please subscribe if you want to see more from me, from this to that to anything. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.